Happy Sunday evening, everyone. Meteorologist Stone Schaefer here. Sorry for the little bit of delay there. I was just having a little bit of technical difficulties. Hopefully everything is working here on this Sunday. Hopefully everyone's had a pretty wonderful weekend. Obviously, lake effect snow has continued to be a sight on and off throughout much of the weekend. We've had, I'd say, decent temperatures, but that pattern looks to become a little bit more active as your TV5 First Alert Weather Team has issued a First Alert Weather Day for Monday into Tuesday morning. With that, there are multiple hazards that look to be in play as we get through the next couple of days. You may not see them all. I will say, or quickly highlight, you're probably going to hear this a lot. This isn't going to be a type of event that you see all three at the same time, but there may be a period where you have the snow, then an hour later you have the snow and the wind, then you add those wind chills in late onto Monday night into Tuesday morning. So sort of just a laundry list of hazards that we're going to see as we get through Monday and into Tuesday. And because of that, we have issued First Alert Weather Days for areas of blowing snow and reduced visibilities, as we'll get more snowfall tonight into our Monday afternoon. That will lead to some accumulations, many areas at 1 to 3. And then with winds starting to pick up right around 35 to 45 miles per hour, that snow will easily be lifted off the ground, causing that blowing snow concern and even drifting snow. So if that's something you've been battling this weekend, I know Friday and Saturday blowing snow was a concern as winds stayed relatively strong both of those days. You're going to have that again on Monday. We'll also see cold wind chills down below zero, near 15 below zero, especially for Tuesday morning. But even tomorrow morning, there will be a few areas that get to 10 below zero. So if you have to be outdoors, frostbite can happen very quickly. So got to be careful with that. And then obviously with snowfall and even a few snow squalls possible, slippery travel, slowdowns for Monday afternoon are going to be a possibility. So let's look at hour by hour first. We'll go over some of those details because, like I said, there's a few parts to this First Alert Weather Day for Monday and Tuesday. Through the rest of the night, we're going to continue to see lake effect snow become a little bit more active than what we had over the weekend. You probably notice one thing, it's not the most widespread, but it's enough to notice. It's enough that a few areas will get longer periods of time of lake effect snow as we get through tonight into our Monday. Right now, looking at 6 a.m., we can see more concentrated areas sort of along 75 there into Tuscola and Lapeer counties. Those will be areas that, again, if you do get lake effect, could be pretty consistent at times. We'll get periods through our Monday morning that it looks to move away, but then as we get into Monday afternoon, we'll start to see the signal of a low pressure system that is moving through the region, and that's going to help bring in a cold front that will help create that north-northwest wind, that will help create some snowfall within that cold front, but also create snowfall off of the lakes. We still continue to see lake effect sort of mix in with this snow band right around midday. So that's where we could see some snow squalls, I think right around 1 to 2 p.m., right around Shiawassee County. That's Owasso into Flint and Lapeer, Grand Blanc, just those areas. That's where you could see some quick, heavy, consistent snowfalls right around midday on Monday, and then just continue to see that lake effect snow as we get through Monday afternoon into Monday evening. So this is 10 p.m. Still seeing isolated chances. I will highlight past about 10 p.m. Monday, most of that snow chance actually goes away, and it does look like we'll actually stay dry for Tuesday, but that's sort of where we add on the next part of our First Alert Weather Day, and that is our temperatures. I'll get to that here in a second, but I just quickly wanted to show our snowfall potential. Now, this is saying Sunday p.m. through Monday p.m. I think this is going to probably stay that way. It's going to be tonight into Monday night before that snow moves out. Most areas have continued to hold on to 1 to 3 inches of snow. So it's not the heaviest amounts. You're going to be, that's pretty typical. What we've been seeing here over the last couple of days, obviously like the end of last week, it was 1 to 3 inches. Into this weekend, it was 1 to 3 inches, and we continue to see 1 to 3 inches. It will be areas up to the north. I think Clare County, it could spread out a little bit farther south. The northern Gladwin, Roscommon, and Ogama counties, those will be the areas that look to be the most common site of seeing 2 to 5 inches. but it will be determined if we can get the right lake effect snow banding, because some areas may end up missing out on that consistent snow banding, so you may struggle to get to that 2 to 5 or even that 1 to 3. So if you're in that area, you're probably going to be lucky tomorrow, because most areas, again, have that chance of getting up to 1 to 3 inches of snow tomorrow, and then those areas up to the north at 2 to 5. Richard asks, how much for Saginaw tonight? I think this is probably a good representation of what we're going to see. I think Saginaw, Bay City, Midland, those areas, even down towards Flint, if we can get the right lake effect snow, anticipate about 1 inch tonight, and then getting a little bit more into tomorrow afternoon. I think that number could jump up a little bit farther down to the south, especially right around midday, because like I said, we do have a low pressure system, we do have a cold front that moves through, and that will end up giving us some more chances of snow, and that pops up right around midday. So I think this right here, this image on our hour by hour, is when areas down to the south will see your best chance of snow here over the next few days. But for tonight, Saginaw, probably about 1 inch, inch and a half if we can get the right banding, because we've mentioned this all the time. If you're in an area that gets lake effect snow, you're probably used to this, and most of Michigan is used to this. But that lake effect snow can change from 1 mile to the other. So you may live in an area where that lake effect snow hits you for 5 minutes, where a mile down the road, that lake effect band hits them for 25 to 30 minutes. So that's just what we have to monitor as we get through tonight into tomorrow morning, and then through our Monday afternoon as that snow starts to develop. But like I said, there's multiple factors to this first alert weather day, and one of those is temperatures. Now, that Arctic air hasn't quite reached us yet. It is still to our west. Our temperatures drop a little bit tonight, but it's mostly into the lower teens. So it's cold. It's not as cold as what we're going to see later into the start of the week and even towards the end of next week. As we look at our feels like temperatures, this again is adding our wind component to our air temperatures. We can see there is some impact there. Lots of 7, 8, 9 below zero. By 8 a.m. and then 10 a.m. that becomes more widespread. So definitely one of those colder days. If you are going to be out and about, I know we have some festivities going on tomorrow. Just be prepared to be bundled up, because it will be cold. Frostbite can happen quickly with our feels like temperatures being below zero like they are. I think concerns though for feels like temperatures / wind chills, that becomes Monday night into Tuesday as we continue to see that sort of increase in winds and those temperatures actually drop as that Arctic air follows that cold front and that low pressure system into mid-Michigan. So this is Monday night, 11 p.m., seeing feels like temperatures 10, 11, 12, 14 to 15 below zero, so even cooler than what we had for Monday morning. And then by Tuesday morning, as the kids are getting back to school, if you do have school on Tuesday, if they do end up going into session on Tuesday, you obviously still have 10 to 15, maybe even a few areas getting to 16 degrees below zero. So just one of those mornings, if you have to be outdoors, make sure you are bundled up, stay warm. If you can be indoors, please do. We want you to stay safe. I know not everyone though has that ability to be indoors if you do have work outside, or maybe you have to wait for the school bus, or maybe you just have to commute to any location across mid-Michigan. And like I've mentioned before, wind also continues to be a factor. We look at our forecast gust. I'll get to Facebook chat because I do see a few people here. But what we see is winds will start to increase tonight, and by tomorrow morning, we're already up to 25 to 35 miles per hour. Then we get to 11 a.m. This is where we start to see those peak wind gusts. And it's really right on track to where we see that low pressure system and that cold front really try to influence itself across the region. By midday, wind gust at 30 to 45 miles per hour. There may be an occasional wind gust up to 50. So this is where this snow might be pretty light through tonight into tomorrow morning. So even if you get 1 inch through tonight into tomorrow morning, wind gust up to 50 miles per hour is going to pick up that snow, and you're going to see drifting snow, you're going to see blowing snow. I know I actually traveled down to the Lansing area on Friday, and then on my way back to the Saginaw area Saturday, there were parts of M52 that had drifted snow across. So if you live in an area that has open fields, you are going to see that possibility of drifting snow. as we get through Monday afternoon especially, but even through Monday afternoon into Monday night for those areas like Owasso, Flint, and then Huron County, Tuscola County, those areas you start to get more open field. That's where you start to see that blowing snow become a concern. They've also gotten a little bit more snow here over the last couple of days. So even 25 to 35 miles per hour does give you that chance of blowing snow. Just a few questions here over on our Facebook chat that I've seen. Ethan, hello from Traverse City. Hopefully you're having a wonderful Sunday. Susan said back roads are still very slick in the thumb. That doesn't surprise me. We mentioned this earlier in the week, or at least I should say earlier in the weekend, that the last couple of systems we've gotten warmer sort of right after, so that helped melt some of that snow and that ice. We haven't been sort of in that train of warmer temperatures, so any snow that fell Wednesday, Thursday, Friday has continued to stick on the ground because there's been nothing to help it melt, and then we've added more snow and continue to see more snow. So that doesn't surprise me that we still see slick roads, especially into the thumb, but even back roads. You live out in the country, you're probably going to see some roads that are still very slick from snow we had on Wednesday and Thursday. Paige said hi from Michigan. Hello. Thank you for the update. You're welcome. How much snow got to go? Sorry. Let's just see here what we can get to our snow map. Looking at our snowfall potential, it really isn't much. Like I mentioned earlier in the stream, it's not the heaviest amount. You know, it's your typical Michigan snow, 1 to 3 inches over much of mid-Michigan. It's just enough to be an annoyance as we're getting out and about tonight into tomorrow. It'll be areas up to the north, Roscommon, Ogama, and northern Clare County. That may spread a little bit farther south that are in that 2 to 5. Obviously, isolated areas could be a little bit higher because we are dealing with lake effect snow that is there. Hi Stone, says Christopher, hello to you. Mark says, I'm ready for that spring weather. I think a lot of people are, especially with the streak we've been having with the weather where, again, we get a system, it brings snow, it melts, then we get 2 weeks of cold weather where none of it melts if we get snow, and we really see that. Like I've mentioned, we are going to cool off. I'll actually highlight our 7-day forecast just real quick. We're not done with the cool air. Monday and Tuesday, highs in the teens, again, single digits for our lows. We'll have a little bit of recovery midweek. Wednesday's actually back into the 20s, but then more Arctic air will start to filter back in behind that snow chance on Wednesday, and we're back into the teens on Thursday, and we'll have single digits below zeros right now for our lows Friday night into Saturday. So I wouldn't be surprised if things hold together. There's been a pretty consistent agreement within long-term weather models that we will see our lows below zero by the time we get into next weekend. Don't be surprised, even as early as tomorrow or Tuesday, if the TV5 First Alert Weather Team does issue First Alert Weather Days for Friday into Saturday and possibly into Sunday, just because of our wind chills and air temperatures being below zero and wind chills possibly being as low as 20 below zero. So we're not done with the cold air. It would be nice if we could get some warmer temperatures just to melt some of that snow, but we're sitting at a range where we don't get that freezing rain chance. If you've been paying attention to the weather across the country, we have a pretty active week, especially down south where they could see snow in areas as far south as Florida. They've actually seen snow in areas of northern Florida, and I know there's been a sort of increasing chance of freezing rain. Luckily, we're missing out on that chance. We're just seeing snow, we're just seeing heavy, strong winds, and we're seeing those colder temperatures. Back to our Facebook chat, Chris says 1 to 3 inches about. Yeah, 1 to 3 inches is really what we're seeing across mid-Michigan. Again, 2 to 5 up there to the north. Veronica says, I like summer. Yeah, that's true. We really sort of want summer to come. But I know there's some winter lovers. Our own TV5 First Alert meteorologist, Matthew Monroe, obviously he's a big winter activity guy. I know he's going to be out there during this week taking advantage of the snow that's on the ground, snowmobiling. I know some skiers that are some of my friends and snowboarders that are enjoying this snowy pattern that we do have this time of year, and hoping that continues at least a little bit longer compared to what we've been seeing over the last couple of years, where we've had weeks in January where there's no snow on the ground at all, and temperatures are actually pretty nice. So hopefully we can continue this trend. But I do have to end the stream here in just a second. I did want to take a look at our 7-day forecast once again. Like I mentioned and like we've been talking about, we do have a first alert weather day issued for both Monday and Tuesday. That is, again, because of snowfall, 1 to 3 inches for most of mid-Michigan. You're going to be looking at blowing snow with strong winds up to 40 to 45 miles per hour. And then temperatures starting to drop with those strong winds will lead our wind chills to be as low as 15 below zero. And then by midweek, we have a little bit of recovery before some more cold air and some more, even maybe some more snow chances into next weekend. But with that, I don't see any more questions over in our Facebook chat. I want to thank everyone for joining me here today. As always, head over to our website at wnem.com. You can head over to our weather tab. There you can catch more from the First Alert Weather Team. I have an article written up, a little bit more details about the snow and the wind that's on the way and those colder temperatures. So if you want to catch up on it later, you can go read that article. You can also download our TV5 First Alert Weather app by scanning this QR code that's sitting right below me. I actually pull it up if I can find that graphic. There. Nope, that's not it. Scan the QR code that's, no, it's not on my screen. What is fighting me there? There we go. Scan that QR code that's on your screen right now. That will help download the First Alert Weather app if you don't have it already downloaded. There you can catch more updates from the TV5 First Alert Weather Team that will have more on the weather across mid-Michigan, especially into tomorrow morning, because you do see that active weather pattern starting here over the next couple of hours. But like I said, with that, I am going to end the stream, get ready for our 10 p.m. newscast. I want to thank everyone for joining me. Hopefully you can stay warm, you can stay dry, and just avoid any of the hazards that we have for our Monday through the rest of next week.